pair of jet fighters and a UFO engaged in a standoff over the Michigan town of Bad Axe in early June, according to an organization called the National UFO Reporting Center. Multiple outlets reported that witnesses claimed to have seen what looked like to be a dogfight between F-16s and an unidentified aerial phenomenon, or UAP. One witness recounted seeing a white, rapidly moving metallic disc easily outmaneuver the jets.
Unlike the Las Vegas sighting caught on police body cam footage, which Rising covered, local authorities say no official police reports have been made. A representative for the 180th Fighter Wing Air National Guard based in Toledo, Ohio, told the outlet Outkick the Coverage that there were jets in the area doing dogfighting exercises, but denied they engaged with anything other than fellow jet fighters, and certainly not any UFOs. Are they making that up, Jessica? What do you think? Covering for something, maybe?
Yeah, there's always a military base nearby, and it was some kind of training exercise. We have so many military bases. The UFO sighting could be anywhere, and they could say, oh, it was the military base closest to that. But I could see a world where we did report here on Rising that there's confirmation of at least a dozen alien spacecraft. Non-human spacecraft is how they put it. Now, it has been a mission, according to Michael Schellenberger and other people reporting on this, of the US government, Russia, and China to try and replicate technologies of UFOs. So is it possible that this was a UAP manned by non-humans, whether remotely or they were there in person, driving the thing? Or is it that we replicated the technology and we were taking it for a test drive? It seems if it was a dogfight and they saw shots being fired, it's more likely than not that this UAP was something foreign, something either from Russia, China, or, somewhere else in the galaxy or universe, right?
Yeah, who knows? I mean, F-16s are notoriously pretty loud aircraft, right? So a dogfight, whether through a training exercise or for real, would certainly capture the attention of civilians. I don't know about this one. I wish it was caught on camera. I'm more liable to believe what we talked about with Michael Schellenberger last week, which was, again, that 12 unidentified non-human spacecraft are apparently in the government's possession. They also apparently recovered non-human pilots, which freaked me out, frankly. But this one, I want to see a little more evidence. I don't want to just jump on the alien train blindly, especially since, as we all know, and as we all had fun in the comments with last week, I believe aliens are demons. So I don't want them here.
Yeah, I want them to take me with them. I don't care if they stay or send people to stay here. I will go with them gladly. I'm hopping on the alien train, spacecraft, UAP, what have you. I'm on it.
Hey YouTube world, harvest is plenty. Hope all is well. Please make sure that you click the thumbs up button, give me a like. Also, if you're not a subscriber to the channel, please consider becoming a subscriber. So how did we get here? How do we get Foo Fighters, as the Nazis called them, or the Germans called them Foo Fighters? How do we get Foo Fighters, our spaceships, battling it out over Michigan, having a dogfight, to the United Nations, to NASA, to secret space programs, to alien invaders, to Babylon and Nimrod? How did we get here? How do we get to Blue Beam technology? What does it have to do with the fallen watchers in Genesis 6? It's a lot of ground to cover. A lot of ground to cover, and I want to take all of those pieces to the puzzle and put it together for you guys to form a clear picture. Gonna take a lot of videos to do these things. Also, some prayer, some reading of the Bible, and hopefully we'll get there. So let's get started with this notorious guy, Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord. So as I said before, the end goal is a new world order, a one world government, a one world religion, and a one world currency. After the flood of Noah, Nimrod was the first king of the world, of the new world, after the flood of Noah. He gobbled all the people up and kept them together. on the plains of Shinar. They built the Tower of Babel in complete defiance against God. You know, he started working in league with the demons and with the rest of the fallen angels to wage war against God. He was upset that his ancestors was killed and wiped out in the flood, and he wanted to avenge them. He told people they don't need God. They can achieve their own salvation through their works and through occult knowledge. The same lie that was given in the Garden of Eden. In Egypt, Nimrod was referred to as Osiris. The Greeks, they called him Apollo. In Akkadian and Sumerian culture, he was also known as Gilgamesh. He had many names: Barkus, Donus, Dionysus. He was also said to be the reincarnated Tammuz, which aka Tammuz is Horus in Egyptian culture. And so he had many names. He even said to live among the stars. And the Orion constellation in the stars is supposed to be a representation of Nimrod. Because Orion, the constellation, is called the Mighty Hunter constellation. And so when you open your Bibles and you turn to the book of Genesis, chapter 10, verse 9, it says this: he was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord. So Nimrod is considered the mighty hunter, the same as Orion in the sky. So as we move forth through this video, when you hear the name Orion being mentioned, when you hear Apollo being mentioned, if you hear Osiris being mentioned, Gilgamesh being mentioned, that's all in reference to Nimrod. This one guy. So let's jump in and dig in, and you guys follow along.
Enough, the History Channel Ancient Aliens, I told you earlier, I've been binge watching it, confirms at least some of this. As they were looking at the space program, and they were identifying how occult the NASA space program is, they make the Orion-Osiris-Apollo connection. Check it out.
Some researchers believe the evidence of NASA's hidden agenda can be found in the close ties between its founding scientists and secret societies.
These secret societies had at their core essentially a belief that they were directly descended from these great gods of ancient Egypt, Isis, Osiris, and Horus. And they considered these gods to be truly the source of their bloodline, but also that these gods themselves came from space. At the very top, you had the Freemasons. You had James Webb, who was the director of NASA. You had a man named Kenneth Kleinknecht, who was the head of the Mercury program, the Apollo program, the Gemini program. He was a 33rd degree Scottish Rite Freemason. Below them, you had the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, or followers of Aleister Crowley. People like Jack Parsons out at JPL were all put together, and so they all ended up under the very same roof with the very same agenda and the very same belief system.
We see this practice of passing knowledge down through a secret society go back all the way to the days of the Illuminati, who believed that a select few of the elite were smart enough, were capable of handling this secret knowledge, but not the population at large. So the question remains, has this knowledge been passed down through secret societies for generations? And this may predate the secret societies that we know about in modern times all the way back to the days of the pharaohs.
Like the ancient Egyptians, could NASA's founding fathers have shared the belief that humans descended from extraterrestrial beings? What did the members of these secret societies know about space travel? And how did the ancient past influence their work? Researchers believe the connection to ancient Egyptian beliefs can also be found in the emblem of NASA's Apollo space program. They claim that the large A in the star field stands not for the Greek god Apollo, but for Asar, the Egyptian god more commonly known as Osiris. This is indicated by the cluster of 3 stars in the center of the A, which represent the stars of Orion's belt.
You have to wonder if stars like Orion and Sirius are very important to NASA because this is where the ancient traditions, including Egyptian, have said that the space gods came from. This is our origins.
According to NASA records, the area of the moon called the Sea of Tranquility was chosen for the first lunar landing based on its flat surface. But some researchers suggest this site was chosen because on that date, its coordinates lined up directly under Orion's belt.
The way they picked the landing sites was that they first chose the specific date, the specific latitude and longitude, the specific time that they would land, and then you have to work your way back from that to create what's called the launch window. The person who picked all of the Apollo landing dates and landing times, including the mission for Apollo 11, was a man named Farouk El-Baz. His father just happened to be an expert on the ancient Egyptian stellar religion.
According to ancient Egyptian beliefs, ceremonies performed directly under Orion's belt produce a sacred alignment, one through which humans could communicate with Osiris.
To the ancient Egyptians, that constellation actually was the literal living embodiment of the great god Osiris. Sirius was the same representation of his wife, sister, and consort Isis. Together, those two essentially ruled the skies, and the life of the Egyptian people themselves was dictated by the rotation, the movement, and the placement of those two celestial objects in the heavens. Apollo 11 had landed at a specific date and a specific time where the 3 belt stars of Orion were on the horizon at that time, 33 minutes after landing. Buzz Aldrin, the second man to walk on the moon, a 33-degree Scottish Rite Freemason, was in fact performing a ceremony on board the lunar module with Neil Armstrong. What they were doing was pouring wine into chalices, breaking bread, and doing what essentially is called a communion ceremony. Now, the interesting thing about the communion ceremony is that although it's Catholic, it actually has its origins in a much deeper, farther back ritual, which was an offering to the god Osiris himself. So they are performing essentially an offering to Osiris himself.
Pretty crazy.
So wow, that was a lot, right? Hopefully you guys are starting to put together some of the pieces of the puzzle. And you guys can see what's going on, and you guys can also understand that this conspiracy is so vast that it encompasses so much. You know, I plan on digging in with Operation Paperclip probably in the next series of in part 3. And also, a reason why they talked about Freemasonry and they said that they were pouring libations out to Osiris, aka Nimrod, is because Nimrod was the first Grand Master Mason. And that's probably going to, you know, wow some people. And it's probably going to tick some others off. But that's according to Masonic legend. You know, when you look through Masonic library and read Masonic works, or go through their own manuscripts, such as the Cook manuscript, such as the York manuscript. Matter of fact, you even go back to the Lindown manuscript. That's around, and I think that was written around 1660, so in the mid 1600s. They even say the same thing, that Nimrod was the first Grand Master Mason after the flood. He gave Masons their first charge to help build the Tower of Babel. So that's why when they were doing the moon landings, doing the Apollo moon mission, they were dressed up in their Masonic regalia, pouring libations out to Osiris. And that's even if they went to the moon when they say they landed on the moon and it wasn't a Hollywood production. That's another video for another time. But until next time, guys, I love you guys. Stay prayed up. Remember, Jesus Christ loves you too. Talk to you soon. Take care.